Welcome back, everybody. Once again, you're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fox, here with my buddy, DJ David Medina, going live from New York City. So you had said something in the last segment about having this Latin organization, this Latino organization at your school that brought people in, like musicians and stuff like that.
Well,
like,
not a lot. It wasn't about that necessarily. It is about, you know.
But no,
but I did help with the other students, obviously, to bring in some speakers and artists and a band.
But music, so
and dance troupe we also brought.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So Patty went to University of Rochester.
Yes.
And she was in an organization with a bunch of kids from New York City. And a lot of them were either Dominican or Puerto Rican, and they had this it was a big group up there.
Okay,
They would throw these festivals, man. It was so amazing. So, do you know who Malafé is?
Yeah,
they brought Malafé in, and
wow,
dude, this is like
budget.
This is like no. It was. I mean, you don't go to U of R without a budget. Most of these kids were on academic scholarships. Yeah, of course. You probably came to some of these events. Most of those kids were on academic scholarships, but it doesn't matter. Like the school had funding. It was serious. Yeah. But this was like '99, and I had no idea what I was walking into. And like I was saying, I was in reggae bands, so I got in a lot of that feel. And a little dabble into Puerto Rican and Dominican and Cuban music, but I didn't know I couldn't distinguish the styles. I didn't know the difference between like plena and son and all that. And I roll up to this party. I'm like, "What's up? Oh, we're gonna have some Latin music. Nice." I was not prepared for what Malafé delivered. But I mean, it was insane. I mean, they had the full entourage.
It's like heavy metal, man.
But like the backup singers, it was these three dudes, and they were in these bodysuits with chest cutouts and skin tight, and they were not they were not attractive, and like moose knuckle right in the. I mean, it was just like debauchery, but it was so fast, and I mean. Bro, I was a different person after that night. I was like, wow. I went down the rabbit hole. But we got to see a lot of that. And it was amazing, especially, for the communities up there that don't really have that connection. Like when you're in New York City, man, it's like on every corner, it's like, it was great to be a part of that and see that. So I have a little insight into
totally.
What
and that was what
about.
Being part of the organization was, and also having that radio show and having that, it was like, no one else was playing.
Right.
So
right. And the same there.
I created my niche.
Yeah.
And that's actually how I became a DJ, was kind of niching myself into the whole DJ world. Like, for example, actually where we left off was Cuban music. I basically got into this niche. There was really not too many DJs playing Cuban music.
Yeah.
Salsa music is traditionally known in New York as Puerto Rican or Colombian, which is great. But Cuban music
it's really Cuban music.
But it's Cuban music. I mean, the root is Cuban music. Yeah. So I went really deep with Cuban music, man. Yeah. I love it. I really do love it. And it was great. It launched me as DJ David Medina. Mm-hmm. And once I got that gig, I got another gig and another gig and another gig. And I was like, all right, I'm making money with my second art form.
Right, which is still art,
but I kept making art, and I had some exhibitions and stuff. But, I started making a living instead. I kind of went from being a starving artist, working for other artists and trying to figure it out, to making a living as a DJ. And then folks at the clubs would, hey, do you do weddings? We're going to get married. And like you said, people who met at my parties hired me to DJ, which is amazing.
So talk a little bit about these experiences where you're like really, you're playing the soundtrack of people's sometimes most climactic experiences of their life.
Well, yeah, and that's where we shift into what I currently do now.
And real service, really
totally. And that's where this whole entrepreneurial kind of mindset comes in. Mm-hmm. Was I was doing
spill
clubs.
It. Preach to me, baby. Preach to me.
You ready, baby?
I'm ready. So let me get that Isaac Hayes voice.
No, Barry White.
Barry White. Here you go.
Whatever. I'm gonna love you.
Stick to the DJing.
Yeah, I know. Not good. Take the mic away.
I can't sing either.
So folks would ask me if I did weddings. Like, sure, I'll do your wedding. I've got tons of music from oldies to the new stuff, and fine, And little by little, I started building my music repertoire to cater to weddings. Because coming from the club life, I'm doing something very niche, very specific. Yeah. Weddings, you have to be able to play Elvis and Van Morrison and Drake and Lizzo. So it basically started there. I started DJing a couple of weddings a year and figuring it out and buying equipment, and little by little, it turned into a real business. I started really focusing. I was like, yeah, there's a lot of money in this business. It's more than a club night. Yeah. And I don't work till 4 a.m.
Right.
I get out and get home by, 1 or something, or 2, or not even. Some weddings end at 10,
Yeah.
depending where they are. And I really got into it. It's like I thought, oh, weddings, you know, who wants to do weddings? You know, I'm cool.
I've done
cool
so
DJ
many weddings as a drummer.
and I was like,
hated it.
I really got into it. It was just like, you know, because it's gonna sound a little hokey. I care about people's experiences. I care about making your night the most amazing night that you ever had. You know, I mean, sure it's not, but it could be one of your most important nights. I mean, your wedding night, right? If you're getting married and you love your bride or your groom, your wedding has to be spectacular, right? You don't want to have a crappy wedding and be like, oh man, the music sucked, but I had a nice dress. It's like, you know, the music is, I think, not just as a DJ, but I think the music is so important. And my role, especially now with all this experience, I do a lot of weddings. I've been doing weddings for a long time. I've shifted my business from clubs to weddings. A few years ago, actually, I love doing the club stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still have my club, my gig at Bembe, and it's this weird, like, I want to get out, but it's like that line from Godfather 3. Sure. I want to get out, but they keep bringing me back in. But some of the guys there are mad because they're like, where are you, man? I'm like, well, you know, it's this 4 o'clock in the morning thing, man. Yeah. I got a 4-year-old. It's not easy. It's not easy. But I still love it. It's like, it's not even, you know, I make more money with weddings, obviously, but I really enjoy that. And it's the music that I really love playing at Bembe, you know, and which is world music and Latin, Afro inspired, you know, Afro diaspora music, you know. And at weddings, I play whatever people want, you know, and that's great too, because it's like, I lose ego there. It's not about me. It's never about me at a wedding. It's about my clients, and I give them 110%. I really do. And it goes into this whole mindset shift. It's like, I didn't realize how much I was going to enjoy weddings. I didn't realize what it takes to be a successful wedding DJ. And it's not really about skill. It doesn't matter how good you can blend or scratch or whatever. It's about customer service. I did not know that. I got into that little by little because first I was just DJing weddings for people I knew, friendly, you know. But then, you know, people would contact me, oh, I got your info from so-and-so, or, you know, that kind of thing. And then I eventually started advertising. I spend a lot of money on advertising on the Nod and Wedding Wire, but it comes back. And, you know, it really does. My business has really grown in the last few years. And it's that whole customer service thing. It's about providing excellent service, making sure that your clients you go above and beyond to make sure your clients are super happy. And most of my clients refer me. They write amazing reviews. I have really just 5-star reviews on everything. And, you know, people who write reviews, they'll write a crappy review if you did a bad job.
Oh, I know.
They will. Knock on wood, you know. That's why, again, it's like, because of this whole social media thing, I also don't want to like have a bad review stain my reputation. Yeah. Even though 1 or 2 is not gonna, because I have so many good ones.
You should open a restaurant.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, restaurants are tough, bro. But, you know, and so the philosophy is, if you serve, it will come. And my business has grown and grown just because of this attitude of service and of providing excellent service and really trying to understand my couples. Like, I speak to them, I send them a questionnaire, they fill it out, and I really get a sense of, okay, this is where they're coming from, this is who's going to be at their wedding, this is the age demographic of their wedding. If I do a lot of mixed race weddings actually in New York because of my world music background, so I'll do Albanian with Puerto Rican, or Jewish with African American, or Russian and Ecuadorian, or whatever, and then I have all the music. I got it all.
You just play Jello Biafra all night.
I wish. I have done a punk rock wedding, but it was more like romantic punk, like the Ramones, the Sex Pistols, which to me is like really rock and roll.
Yeah, of course.
But I did speak to a couple of nights ago, and I think they're gonna book me. I had a good feeling. The groom loves Slayer, and I was like, God. I said, Rain and Blood is the best metal album ever produced.
And his wife was like, and we're not hiring him.
I was like, well, you can do your, when you come out, and now, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big round of applause for Jim and Jill as they come into their and play Enter Sandman. And he was like, yes. And she's like, I don't know if we're going to hire
next DJ, please.
I don't know if we should hire this guy. He's going to ruin my wedding. But no, I cater to the brides first.
Yeah, you said some really great things in there. Transitioning from and I think it's great that you found that, where you're coming from an artistic background where you're trying to feed your own soul, and the one hat didn't fit the way you wanted it to, and then you found this other one and you're like, oh, that fits well also,
right? And
that one turned into servitude in a way, like in the best possible way.
Seriously,
it's really amazing to me. And I had this, so for me it was the same, but it was in the food industry.
Right.
This guy asked me the other day on Twitter, oh, how did you end up in restaurants? And I said, I was a starving musician and I just got good at it over time, you know? But it was the same where that idea of service, and I love to put a smile on people's faces, like performance.
Yeah,
I love to do it that way. You never want to perform and people leave like, you want them to be pumped, you know, and the same when you're DJing. And then I started to see the same thing in food, and obviously there's a way to be creative with food as well. So like trying to marry those two, and then that idea of just like servitude on the deepest level, just human to human, hit me, and it was a few years ago, and I was like, wow, this is one of those things that gives back in a huge way. And it was something I neglected for. Part of it comes with, you know, maturity and emotional intelligence. I mean, I was like a 5-year-old in my late 30s.
I still am.
Right, exactly. So that's fascinating that you found that.
Yeah, it really is amazing. I mean, and I had no clue that was the key
same here.
to success. And it's like, it's always been in my heart. I mean, you know, I think I'm a nice person. I've always cared about the
you're
world.
a lovely guy.
That was my art.
Even in jiu-jitsu, you're nice.
I'm nice in jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
I mean, you break it. You don't play games.
I don't play. But I
nice.
give some people a break. But then other people don't give me a break, and I'm like, well, that's okay. That's what it is. You learn.
Are you
grow.
trying to say
I'm not
something?
talking about you. I'm not talking about you. But that's how you learn. You have to come up against some struggle, you know, and then you surpass that with kindness.
Yeah.
And don't crank too hard.
Yeah, you know? But it's the same is definitely true in business.
It sure is.
You know, you have to take, God, there's so many correlations between jiu-jitsu and business. Like how professors
really
always
is.
like, you have to do something. You might not know what to do, but you have to do something. So you have to move. You have to make an effort.
You know,
but you have to be soft enough and empathetic enough to see the right opportunities along the way for mutual growth. Like for your business, you want to do well, but you also want these people to have a wonderful experience and have a good life. It's not just like, so you refer me. It's like, so you actually walk away. Like I get that impression from you that you're not just like, I want you to be happy so that you refer me.
No, not at all. It's
like,
a wonderful after effect
right.
of doing something that I honestly, genuinely enjoy doing. And I want it to be an amazing experience for you. You know, it's not about me playing what I want to play.
Right.
It's about me playing great music for you based off of what you have given me in terms of input, songs and song choices is going to be there. I mean, it's a funny example. I did a wedding in late December, last wedding of the year. The bride's mother friended me on Instagram because she said, you were amazing. You know? I get that a lot. I get parents coming up. Actually, this is another funny one. 2 weddings ago, I did a wedding up in Yonkers or Hastings, and the bride's father is in the entertainment business for like 50 years. He knows, like, he's hired Teddy Pendergrass, all these bands. I mean, and he has he offered me a job. He said, I have this social club, whatever, in Long Island. Yeah, it'd be great if you came in on a Sunday. And I'm like, well, I do a lot of weddings, but if I can't, but you know. He was like, I love every song you played. I've been in the business so long. I hear wedding DJs, they can't mix, they can't do this, they suck. And it's like, you're great. And you actually have to be good at what you do. It takes, obviously you need to have skill. Can't skip the skill. You need skill, and you practice and you learn. But ultimately, it's about service. It's not about you. It's about making sure that your clients are 100, give them 110%, and it's going to come back to you in another way, by them or by someone else. And when you combine that with the skill, then it's like a superpower. It's a superpower, All right, we're going to take a break and fly with our superpowers. We'll be back for the last session in just a few. You're listening to the Entrepreneurial Web.